one of the best money makers in the EPL this season has been Manchester United first half road unders. Like, if you know, you know. I mean, they've just been straight money all season.
Happy Thursday, guys. Welcome to WagerTalk TV and Stoppage Time. Three big games across Europe this weekend. We're getting away from the EPL other than one game, which is the Manchester Derby, and we're going to discuss that one last. But we've got a couple other big games. We got one in Italy's Serie A. Juventus traveling to take on Napoli, who suddenly are finding the back of the net. 6-1 scoreline on Wednesday for them at Sassuolo. And then we got Barcelona and Atletico Bilbao, another very good contest with plus money across the board on that one. With me from WagerTalk.com, Pavlos Recap, Nick Borman, and Kevin Dolan. And guys, I want to mention we have some new segments coming up. You're going to find them not only on the WagerTalk platform, you're going to find them on the X, you're going to find them on TikTok as well, too. And then if these guys have Instagram accounts, you'll find them on their Instagrams as well, too. A ton of free plays. These are super cool segments. And Kev, we're going to have a look at yours in a second, but tell us about what people can expect in your segment that you'll be doing.
I do, as people who've watched this show for a long time, Carmine, I do a lot of draws. A lot of my prop bets are around the draw, centered, revolve around the draw, basically. And my nickname at school was Desperate Dan. I think it's because of my chin. So I've combined the two of those. We did a quick draw segment combining some old Wild West flavor. With three of the most profitable draws that I could find for this weekend's card. And that actually went out this morning, so definitely good to tune into that.
Awesome, man. Those are very good segments. You guys got to give these guys a follow, and you'll see their Twitter handles as well on there. And I will say it, and they'll mention it. There's going to be some great promos that you can get, whether it's 3 days, 7 days, single day packages on the weekend within those videos. So short videos. So for those of you with short attention spans, you can watch 2 minutes of it, get some free plays, and move on with it. Nick, you got a super cool one as well, too.
Yeah, 2 minutes is exactly the number. 2-minute kicks, just a quick cover of the major leagues in Europe. I try to do one play from each of the 4 leagues. While that's going on, that'll switch, of course, as the season goes on, and that ends, and we'll switch into MLS and tournaments. But yeah, 4 real quick picks in 2 minutes to cover you for the weekend soccer card. So it's been a good run so far. We'll have another one posted up today on Thursday as well.
Awesome, guys. Keep going. And Pavlos, our graphics guy is absolute fire. Eric Garcia. He came up with some cool graphics for all 3 of you guys. Yours is super cool. I keep looking at it. I'm like, this is quite possibly one of the best ones I have seen. Tell us what people can expect in your segment.
Yeah, that's true. For those of you who have been following Stoppage Time or me personally, you know that I love cards and I love to bet on card props. So my segment is called Anger Management, and we're doing some card props for the weekend. It's usually a couple of, 2 quick rundowns of the 2 best matches that I see cards in. We actually won our first bet in the Anger Management segment yesterday with Chelsea. It's a very interesting weekend, so stay tuned and you'll see some more card props that are really going to be very, very interesting for as the season goes.
And you know what I like, guys, before we get into this first game, the Juve Napoli game, what I like about these segments is they're complete. It pretty much covers a myriad of what you would do when you're betting soccer. So whether it's draws, whether it's cards and yellows and reds, or straight up picks in games, you're going to watch the three videos, and you're going to get 3 different ways of betting games. And it's very good. And Kev, with those draws, man, last year you were absolutely on fire with those. And Pavlos, you killed it with the yellows as well, too. Nick, of course, monster MLS season last year. So when it switches over to MLS, you guys, if you're not watching already, you need to be watching these segments. With that said, guys, let's go to Italy. This first game, Napoli at home, plus 141. Juve, plus 220. The draw in here is plus 214. Kev, I watched this game yesterday. I wanted to bet Napoli against Sassuolo, but I said to myself, hey, self, This team is still struggling to score. We've seen it over the last couple of months with this Napoli team, but I shouldn't have listened to myself because 6 goals. Osimhen, I think he had 3 of them. Unbelievable performance by them, given the fact that they conceded the first goal and then scored the next 6. Give me your thoughts on this game. Can they carry that form from midweek over to Sunday's game against second from the top Juve?
I can't get too excited just yet. I mean, obviously, you got to base a lot of these numbers on a season-long basis. One swallow doesn't make a summer, as they always say. And I do expect this one to be a little cagier on Sunday, Carmine. I actually like the first half draw on this one at -110. Generally, both of these teams have tended to be lower scoring in games early on this year. Napoli holds a 62% clean sheet percentage at home inside the first half this season. Juventus, an even higher 69% on the road. And both of these teams rank joint second on outright draw rate at the half this season also. So, just going on that alone, I'm not exactly expecting a thriller, at least early in this one on Sunday. In terms of home road form split specifically between these two teams, 67% of all Napoli's home games have been all square at the break. That's the joint third highest frequency rate in the league, while Juventus own a much lower 31% draw rate on the road, but, have failed to score in 54% of their first halves this season as well away from home. So, 0-0, could definitely be an option here, given all those defensive stats at halftime. That's something that's happened in both of their recent head-to-heads, but, we did see first half goals in all of their 5 previous meetings prior to those last 2 meetings. So, I'm going to play it a little safe here. I just think the first half draw, whether it be 0-0, whether it potentially be 1-1, I don't see much separating either of these two teams on Sunday. So, yeah, first half draw -110.
All right, Kevin Dolan from WagerTalk. Nick, you look at this game and, Napoli's unbeaten in their last 3, a couple draws. They finally get a win. And like Kevin said, it might be too early to think of a revival for last year's champions. How are you looking at this one?
Yeah, I agree with Kevin on the fact that it's hard to separate these teams. Both teams are teams you kind of wanted to avoid betting, at least recently. I did happen to back Napoli on Wednesday, so that was nice. But really, over their last 18 matches, Napoli has a 3-win, 13 loss, and 2 push record against the spread. So clearly not a team you're comfortable betting on. And then Juve, they were cruising along. All of a sudden, a red card against Empoli, they draw. Then that started a run where they basically lost their chance at the Scudetto over 4 matches. So I don't really trust backing either of them right now. I do think this is going to be low scoring. There's a reason this total is set at 2 right now. It's tough to take under 2 because there's so many scenarios where obviously the match could end with 2-1, obviously, or 2-0. But pretty much, every year over the last decade plus, this matchup would always have title implications. And while that's not the case this year, this is a much more important match for Napoli at this point, as they're far behind. They're chasing the top 4, trying to get back into the Champions League for next season. The one positive thing I'll say about them is they've been playing very good defense. They haven't allowed more than 1 goal in now 10 straight matches, which does include Barcelona, Milan, and Inter. So they are playing well defensively. And considering Juve struggling to score before knocking in 3 this past weekend against lowly Frosinone, I do think they can limit Juventus' attack in this match. And again, the total at 2, I lean to the under. It's hard to bet under 2. So I'm kind of going a little bit different. I'm going to go on both teams to score no. That's around -120 right now. This very well could end up 1-0 either way, maybe even 0-0, as Kevin alluded to. So I just think both teams are very locked in defensively. This is going to be tight. It usually is a tight matchup. So I'm going to go both teams to score no and hope we're just going to see a 1-0 or 2-0 score line either way.
Nick, that game on the weekend, 3-2 against Frosinone, a last-second goal off a corner from Rugani, who doesn't normally score or even feature for this Juventus team, but Danilo injured for them. They could have easily been on a 5-game winless streak, but they remain there. Pavlos, you look at it and you start to wonder about the importance of games for teams like Lazio, Napoli, Fiorentina, and even Roma. Teams are in those positions from 6th to 9th because there is a good possibility that this coming year, that an extra Champions League spot could go to Serie A, depending on how the teams, the Italian teams that are left in the three competitions do. That also goes for the German teams. So there's a very good chance that one of the leagues is going to get one of them is going to get a Champions League spot. But if the Italian teams can continue to progress in those three tournaments, club tournaments, there could be a fifth Champions League spot in Italy, which makes that the points all that more important. Or currently, Napoli 6 points back of fifth, which is occupied by Atalanta. Give me your thoughts on this game.
Yeah, that's true. Napoli need to keep, they're under the new manager bounce because they changed their manager a couple of weeks ago prior to their first leg of the Champions League match against Barcelona. However, the new manager bounce didn't come into effect up until their match against Sassuolo. The new manager had a 1-1 draw against Barcelona, which was not a bad result. Then they had a 1-1 draw on the road against Cagliari, but they finally found their mojo in the match against Sassuolo. Even though they conceded the first goal, they were leading by 3-1 at halftime. As you guys said, Osimhen had a hat-trick. Kvaratskhelia scored one and assisted he scored two and assisted one. So these are the two most influential and best players in this Napoli side, and they really needed to find their long-lost form because last season they were extremely good, but this season they were really, really quiet. So Napoli is still looking for their first home win after the new manager, and I think Juventus are in a bad spot right now. To be honest, if you ask me, they beat Frosinone by luck. They scored the winning goal at the 5th minute of stoppage time. They even found themselves down 2-1 in the first half. And prior to that, they were winless in 4, and against really bad teams like Verona, Udinese, against Inter Milan. Okay, that was expected, but against Empoli as well. So Juventus are not in the best place, in the best form right now. And Napoli, again, under the new manager bounce in their first home match since that, the first league match actually. I think they're not losing this one. So I like Napoli minus a quarter goal, plus 105, plus money as well. This is a split line between Napoli money line and Napoli pick'em. So if it's a draw, we only lose half our bet. But I think, as you said, Carmine, an extra spot might open up, and Napoli, they're not far away from those spots. So they need to keep, the pedal to the metal. And they're now getting at the Juventus side that hasn't been really, good in their trips to Napoli. They've in fact, they are winless in the last 5 matches in Napoli. Napoli won 4, and the other one was a draw in the cup. So I think Napoli have a good chance to win this outright. But we are getting the extra protection of just a half loss if the match ends in a draw. So give me Napoli minus the quarter goal at plus 105 here.
All right. Love it, Pavlos, and best of luck to you. I'll be watching it. I won't be betting this one, of course, on Sunday. All 3 games that we're covering on today's show are on Sunday. So you'll have plenty of time to watch this video and, of course, get down on these 3 games. We're going to go to Spain for this one, and it's Barcelona, Atletico Bilbao. Atletico at home, plus 179. Barcelona plus 145. The draw in this game is plus 258. And who better to kick off this one than the King of Spain himself, Kevin Dolan? Give me your thoughts on this one.
Oh, Carmine, this is a very, very interesting game because it's almost what kind of both teams head-to-head stats say versus what recent data says. All of the last 4 meetings between these two teams have seen at least one of them fail to find the back of the net. The last 2 featured under 2.5 goals as well. But that low-scoring, head-to-head recent meetings, that kind of flies in the face of what we've seen from both of these teams across recent months. Barcelona games on the road this season have been absolute goal fests. 83%, 83% of all of their games away from home have seen both teams find the back of the net this year. That's by far the highest frequency rate in the entire league this season. And their road games have averaged a combined 3.25 goals per game away from home as well. So, we saw Bilbao, despite their overall impressive defensive record this season, they looked extremely shaky against Betis last weekend. They were all over the shop defensively. Early in that game especially, they gave up their own goal, that Villa goal before that as well. That was just brutal defending, just bypassed, 3 defenders with one ball. So, Bilbao have actually been a lot worse at home this year defensively. Well, I wouldn't say a lot worse, but they've been worse at home this year defensively than they have been on the road. They've allowed 1.08 goals against per game at home this season compared to 0.92 on the road. So that's quite a significant difference there. And not only that as well, but it's also a recency issue, not just a home road issue. Also, we've started to see cracks appearing in this Bilbao defensive late. They allowed just 0.67 XGA per game across the month of January. That's since ballooned away up to 1.03 XGA since February 1st. So, the both teams to score market was where I immediately looked on this one. But at minus 180, I believe it's early in the week. I don't want to get involved at that kind of price. So in terms of playing this one, I looked at a couple of options, but I think the simplest one is just to tack on one more goal here and take that BTTS and over 2.5 goals. I also think, Barcelona have won all the last 4 league head-to-heads, in this series as well. So maybe you could look to take Barcelona and BTTS, but I'll just stick with goals in this one. BTTS and over 2.5, minus 110, and, hope we kind of see that extra goal here.
All right, Kev, I was thinking along the same lines. And, and the thing is, you look at, and you mentioned Bilbao's home form. You start to think of who the highest scoring teams are, especially at home. And, you think of the teams that are atop the standings, Real Madrid, Girona, you think of Barcelona. But lo and behold, it's Bilbao, 34 goals scored at home through 13 match days. That is a lot of goals being scored, 48 total goals being scored in their home games through 13. That's a high rate, Nick. What do you think about this one? We see some goals like Kev says, or are you looking at a different market here?
I'm going to try to convince you perhaps the other way. Bilbao, yes, they've conceded a few more recently. They've kept 7 clean sheets, though, in their last 12. And yes, 5 goals over their last 2 matches is worrisome. Barcelona, very difficult to keep off the board. Their offense has been great. I mean, they've been held scoreless one time this season, right? So we know they're going to get on the board here, or we think they're going to get on the board. Over the last 16 matches alone, Barcelona has netted 36 times. They've scored at least 2 in 12 of them. So it just seems very unlikely that this is going to be a clean sheet. But Bilbao has such a strong defense. I think they can make it pretty tough on them. The worry is Bilbao has a match today. It's Thursday in the Copa del Rey against Atletico. So there could be some tired legs that hurt them. Maybe that hurts them more on the offensive side, and they can bury in and try to do everything they can on the defensive side. Barcelona's defense has been a worry all season. I mean, they're coming off a very rare clean sheet. They won 4-0 against Getafe. I say rare. That was only their 3rd clean sheet in their last 16 matches in all competitions. However, aside from the ugly 3-3 draw against Granada, they have held 5 of their last 6 opponents to 1 goal or fewer. They've allowed 0.92 expected goals in those 6 matches compared to the previous 10, which they allowed a whopping 1.78. So maybe they're onto something. A little change is going on. Maybe they can keep that going. So I'm going to try to buy onto the fact that they had something going defensively, and maybe with Bilbao being a little bit more tired. Hopefully that doesn't hurt them on the defensive side, but perhaps that just limits their ability to press forward and do a good job as far as creating chances. And Barcelona was good defensively against Napoli. They held the Italian side to just 6 shots in that 1-1 leg 1 draw. The reverse fixture did finish 1-0 to Barcelona. I could see another low-scoring match play out here. So I have a couple options. You could take under 2.5 for even money. A lot of chances, as Kevin did say, that, a 2-1 kind of a final could end up happening. One other one that I really kind of like is I don't think Barcelona's going to lose, right? I think that the fact that Bilbao's coming off that match is going to hurt them a lot. So you could take Barcelona on the double chance and pair that with under 3.5. So we get an extra goal out of that situation, and you can get a plus 110 price on that. So I really like that prop. But either way, I think this match is going to be a little bit more low scoring than you would otherwise think.
Pavlos, we are giving you the final word, the tiebreaker between these two. But I will mention this, Pavlos, because you do that great segment, the anger management segment. That reverse fixture that Nick talked about, I think it was back in October, 1-0 for Barcelona in that game, 6 yellow cards in that game. These two teams also met in the Copa del Rey. six cards in the 90 minutes, and then the game went to extra time where there was an additional 5 cards, 11 cards in that one. I'm seeing the cards for this game currently priced at over 5.5 plus 105. Would you even look at the cards in this one, or are you going somewhere completely different?
I did look at cards, but this match is a strange one, so I left it alone because there's not many. Oddly enough, there's not many cards between these two historically. If you look back a couple of seasons, so I want to stand on today's match. We're shooting this on Thursday, and Thursday, as Nick said, is the second leg of the Copa del Rey semi-final between Bilbao and Atletico Madrid. So Bilbao, they beat Atletico Madrid in the first leg on the road by 1-0, and this is a team that traditionally they can't really break into the top 4 spots of the La Liga, so they always look to shine in the Copa del Rey. Why am I saying this? Because Bilbao, they've actually they won the Copa del Rey 23 times. That's the second most in all of Spain, and they made the final 39 times. That's the third most. So they always prioritize doing well in the Copa del Rey because they know that they can challenge the top 4 spots. However, this season they're doing a really good job, and they are actually sitting 5th in the La Liga within striking distance of Atletico Madrid at the 4th spot. But now with Real Madrid and Barcelona out of the cup, and with Mallorca waiting in the final, I think Bilbao will go above and beyond in their Thursday match against Atletico Madrid in the Copa del Rey, which will probably leave them depleted of energy. And there's bound to be some emotions, whether they win or they lose. There's bound to be some emotions coming into that match against Barcelona. And I generally don't like Barcelona all that much, but they've been fighting their groove as of late, and I think they can hurt Bilbao here. I like Barcelona on the pick'em line, -130. It's not a great price, but I think they can at least avoid the loss here. If the match ends in a draw, this bet is a push. But if it swings any other way, I think it swings on Barcelona's way. Barcelona, they have no distractions. Their match against Napoli for the Champions League is next week, so they're able to use their best lineup, while Bilbao will surely throw the kitchen sink, in the match against Atletico Madrid. So there's bound to be some distraction just a few days later in the league. So Barcelona haven't lost a single match in the San Mamés Stadium in Bilbao in the last 6 matches. They have 3 wins and 3 draws. So I like their chances to not lose on Sunday. So I like Barcelona pick'em line -130 with the protection of a push if this match ends in a draw.
All right. There you have it. Final word on Barcelona Atletico Bilbao from Pavlos Recap of WagerTalk. And Pavlos has had a great year and a half at WagerTalk, coming over from his sports memo, continues to kill it. You check out his page over at WagerTalk. Guys, we got to go back to the EPL. And this is probably it has got to be the marquee game of the weekend. It is the Manchester Derby, Kev. Man City, Man United, City coming off an absolute spanking of Luton City early in Holland. 5 goals in that game before they took him off. And Man United, they get a win of their own at Nottingham, winning 1-0. But you look at their injury list going into that game, and obviously Højlund is the big one. Missing in that game with a muscle injury. We don't know if he's going to feature or not. There's no news on that yet. What are your thoughts on this one?
I like this game, Carmine. One of the best money makers in the EPL this season has been Manchester United first half road unders. Like, if you know, you know. I mean, they've just been straight money all season. For all the running jokes and memes on how bad United have been, and look, we've been really tackling them now for about two or three seasons at this stage. But, at the end of the day, look, stats don't lie. No goalkeeper has a higher clean sheet percentage away from home this season than Andre Onana. No team even comes close to United's 77% clean sheet percentage away from home inside the first half as well. So, maybe it's the pressures of kind of playing inside Old Trafford, that home crowd. I mean, I don't know. But on the road this season, especially early on in games, United have just been extremely resilient in terms of shutting down their opponents. Just like United, Manchester City, have also been extremely watertight at the back inside the first half this year. City owns the league's best first half clean sheet percentage at home this year. Just one of their last 8 games inside the Etihad across all competitions have seen City give up a first half goal, like 1 in 8, and that was that game against Chelsea. So, this is a straightforward handicap for me. We've got the best first half defensive team on the road facing the best first half defensive team at home. It really doesn't get much simpler than that. So, yeah, give me the first half under 1.25 goals at plus money, plus 110 right now for Sunday. I think that's a great price, and I've already bet it.
I like it, Kevin. You mentioned it. It's hard to believe through everything that you see through the media and social media, getting on United for the season that they're having. 13 games on the road this season. At halftime, they've been ahead in 5 and been tied in the other 8. They haven't been down at halftime in 5 of the games in which they were tied at halftime. They went on to lose the game. So that could be one of those ones where and I'd have to look at the price where you could literally take the halftime, full time, and take draw Man City if you think Man City is going to go on to win the game. You're going to get plus money on that, I have to believe. Nick, give us your thoughts on this one.
I quickly in my head, I'm like, all right, the Manchester Derby, and I remember United giving City, a lot of trouble. We've talked about that plenty of times on the show. So I'm like, that's the first thing that popped in my head. I'm like, all right, let me go quickly look at the results between these teams. But I was surprised to see, I guess time just goes quickly, right? I was surprised to see that City has actually been the better team here in recent meetings and have won, I believe it's 5 of the last 6. So it's hard not to want to get money on City here, especially with KDB back in this team. With that guy feeding Haaland, it's a scary proposition for everybody. I mean, they've won 16 of their last 18 in all comps. They got 2 draws. United, they're coming off that loss. They were playing well, right? They had won 5 straight before that loss to Fulham last weekend. They sit 6th in the table. They're 11th, though, in expected points. They've been able to get away with poor defensive performances. They've conceded 36 goals, but on over 45 expected goals. And all that means to me is that they're allowing chances, right? And the one team in the world you definitely don't want to allow extra chances to, of course, is going to be Man City. I mean, Haaland scored, 5 goals himself week. So it's just, I think they're clicking. I think the chemistry between KDB with him back in the lineup and feeding is just getting better every single time they're on the pitch. Over the last 11 matches, City has averaged 22 shots with 8 on goal, while United has allowed an average of 19 shots with 6 on goal over their last 6 matches. So, United had that fluke draw versus Liverpool. They allowed the Reds 34 shots, 8 on goal. I mean, that's just very, very worrisome. You allow anything like that to City, they're going to score 3. This number opened at -1.5. It is now -1.75, so we've missed the best of the number, but I think there's a reason it's being pushed that way, and I'm still comfortable taking City on the handicap. I wish, we could get -1.5. You could pay for that, but I think -1.75, I think we're going to see City dominate, do their thing, and the real United kind of show up, which is a team that's really not good defensively, and that I think you can comfortably lay the handicap on City.
All right, Pavlos, once again, you're going to get the last word on this one. And while Nick was going through his, I looked it up. The draw, the double result, or the halftime, full-time draw, and then City to win is plus 320. So that's a huge price on that one. And then I also had to look it up because Erling Haaland is, and as Nick mentioned, with Kevin De Bruyne back in, Haaland's goal count is just going to continue to go up. Obviously, you can't bet him to just to score. He's -200, but Haaland to record 2 or more goals is plus 230. Not a bad price there if he wants to stamp on this United team. And they talk about will the City be blue or red after the game. It's likely going to be blue. What do you think?
I think that the odds are a bit way off for a City derby like this one. Yes, I know City are on a roll right now. I know they scored 6 on Luton Town. And, funny story, I took De Bruyne to score or assist a couple of matches ago. He didn't score, he didn't assist. And then yesterday I took Luton plus 1.5 goal, because if you look at their stats, they've lost just 1 match by 2 goals or more at home this season. So Kevin De Bruyne spits me in the face. This is out 4 assists. Haaland scores 5. So I guess bad timing on me on that one. But still, I think the odds don't depict the severity of the situation. Again, this is still a City derby. Goes way back, and I wouldn't be surprised if Manchester United took something from this match. I know a lot of people will jump on City bets like City and over something, or City halftime, full time, or whatever. I don't blame them, but in situations like this, I'd rather take. For example, my pick here is Manchester United double chance plus 270. I know some people are gonna laugh. I know I might be exposed. I know City might win this 5-0, and I look like an idiot. But we're betting with the odds that are presented to us. And again, this is a City derby, and Manchester United, they've not been terrible. They actually lost just one of the last 9 with 7 wins and 1 draw. I think they actually have a chance of getting something here. Again, I could be really exposed, but I'd rather take a small stake bet on high odds than take some bet on City and then United scored the first goal and I'm sweating. I don't like to sweat. I like easier path. So as for goal scoring props, guys, I think there's usually midfielders who show up big in these matches, whether it is Rodri, whether it is Casemiro. We've seen all kinds of holding midfielders. Even in years past, we saw Matt score, we saw Scott McTominay score. And here's the thing. Whenever the big guns in your team like Haaland and De Bruyne and, I don't know, maybe Bernardo Silva, they cannot score, City's holding midfielders always step up. Gundogan scored a couple of goals when the two teams met a couple of seasons ago. Prior to that, it was Fernandinho. Prior to that, it was Yaya Toure. So Manchester City have a long history of squeezing out every droplet of value from their holding midfielders. So if you want to take some goal-scoring props, Rodri to score anytime is at plus 550. Casemiro to score is at plus 1200. If you want an extra bet, I like Rodri to have 1 or more shots on target at minus 115. But I'm going to take a leap here and take Manchester United double chance plus 270. I think that's a very, very big price for a match with these characteristics. So, again, I could be wrong, but I like the odds here. So give me Manchester United double chance plus 270.
All right, there you have it. The rundown on 3 games. We start in Italy with Juve traveling to Napoli, Barcelona traveling to take on Atletico Bilbao, and of course, the Manchester Derby. All 3 games on an action-packed Sunday. Kev, I'm going to start with you. We're going to have a look at your leans on today's show. Tell us what you have up at WagerTalk and what clients can expect for this weekend.
Yeah, my EPL props pack has already been loaded for all access clients ahead of this weekend. Carmine, excited about that. Again, I'm just going to mention this one more time. Major League Rugby starts this Saturday, the entire season. Big season ahead, and we absolutely crushed the recent World Cup as well. We hit almost 70% across the tournament as a whole. Rugby continues to be one of our best sports. We just came off a 2-0 weekend in the Six Nations as well. So really excited about the upcoming season. You can lock in every player we release right throughout the entire year for only $99. And as a bonus, receive every other rugby player we release as well in the Six Nations, European Champions Cup and so on at no extra cost. So really excited about the season ahead. Great time to sign up, obviously, as the season hasn't started yet. Starts this Saturday. So, looking forward to another month of the year.
All right, Kev, best of luck to you guys. Give him some love. He's very good at what he does, especially rugby. He's been a moneymaker for clients who have been following Kev. Nick, tell us what you have up at WagerTalk and what clients can expect this weekend.
Well, rugby is one thing, but we'll go to the other manly sport, as Kevin likes to say, with golf. We're in full swing here with another tournament this weekend. Of course, we have the rest of the season going on. You can get $99. You can get 30 days of golf, so that'll cover you for 4 tournaments. Definitely a good value there. MLS just kicked off full season, $299, 5 straight winning years, plus 60 units last year. So hoping to continue that. And then I have a rare 5% soccer play loaded up for this weekend's card. It's only my second one of the season, 6-2, or second one of the 2024 calendar year, let me say. 6-2, my last 8, and overall number 1 in soccer over the last 30 days, plus 25 units. So on a good run. Hopefully we'll keep that going into the weekend.
All right, keep winning. Pavlos, same for you, man. Tell us what you have up in that segment. Straight fire from you, Pavlos, on that segment. Keep popping those out, all 3 of you guys. Tell us what you have up at WagerTalk and what clients can expect this weekend.
Okay, I have best bets in the EPL, Spain, France, and the MLS. And keep in mind that next week is Champions and Europa League week. So if you get a 7-day all access, you'll get all the weekend plays and all the Champions and Europa League plays. We're going to have a couple of big moves in the Champions and the Europa League as well. So get your 7-day all access and you'll get access to all of these plays for a fraction of the price. And, we got some free plays loaded at the page. Go to www.buzz/PL and you'll find several of the free plays I've already loaded.
All right, there you have it, guys. Guys, we're going to be back next Thursday. Listen, if you're watching today on Thursday, which is leap year, Thursday, 29th, we have a site-wide promotion, LEAP29, the promo code LEAP29, and that'll get you 29% off of any all-access packs from your favorite handicapper, any past 3 days or longer, 29% off. Leap year, and I don't think any of these guys have ever lost on leap year. So I wish you guys the best of luck. For myself, Pavlos, Nick, and Kevin, this is Stoppage Time. We'll see you next week.